Memorial Day to me. I can't believe that we've already expended an entire summer and we're now here in the fall. We're starting the fall, and as we start the fall, we are starting this new sermon series, Creatures of Habit. And so as we dive into that, I want to say we are all creatures of habit, aren't we? Each of us has a set of routines that we can find to be helpful, but we can also get stuck in ruts at times that can set us back. The formation of these patterns often happens without us even really knowing it. And we must be careful. What we believe determines what we do, and what we do determines who we become. And we must be careful. What we believe determines what we do, and what we do determines who we become. Are you becoming the kind of person God wants you to be? We are all creatures of habit. Let's choose wisely. I want to acknowledge Trevor Miller. He was the source of this sermon series. We didn't write this ourselves. We borrowed something that was available, and so I appreciate the willingness of Trevor to allow us to use this series. And I also want to acknowledge my brother Steve and my brother's son-in-law, who put together the video that we saw, the bumper video. The bumper video that came with this was less complete, and so they did a nice job of remastering that for us, and I appreciate their efforts in that regard. All right. You need to turn off the output from the presenter program. Okay. I am Pastor Larry. I'm one of the elders here at Real Life Church. And if you have any questions about what I say today, I recognize that everybody who comes here brings something different with them. Some of you online may be bringing nothing with you, and that's fine too. Whatever your reaction to today's message is, feel free to message me, to grab me in the cafe, whatever. I'm always happy to answer your questions. All right. Author James Clear, in his book Atomic Habits, explains that inside of our brains, there's an area, or really two areas, one called the, and I'll have to look at it because I can't say it, basal ganglia, and the other one is called the, if you ever find yourself away or catch it, you don't think about that, do you? You don't have to stop and process the thought, I should deflect that ball before it hits me in the face. You just automatically do that, and that's because this area in the back of your brain processes that input, and it's already sort of pre-programmed someplace, somewhere along the way in your childhood. You got hit in the face with a ball, and you said, hey, I don't want to do that again, so I'm going to stop the ball before it gets to me. And your brain said, that's a good decision, and so it just started doing that for you automatically. And it sort of happens at a subconscious level. It's pre-programmed in, and you don't ever really get the thought in your head that I should do that. You just react. You respond because that's the way that your brain is programmed to deal with certain stimulus. And so that's how habits form. When we continue to do the same thing over and over again, a habit begins to lodge itself in that part of our brain where it just automatically takes place. And so that's why you'll find yourself doing things without thinking about them, and then you stop and you say, why am I even doing this? I don't even know why I'm in the middle of what I'm doing here, because that part of your brain in the back just sort of took over and started running on autopilot. And so the other part of our brain is the prefrontal cortex. And that's where all the thoughts and really deep problem-solving skills come from. And when we try to think through new problems that we don't have a preloaded program to deal with, then it goes to the prefrontal cortex. And then we have to actually stop and think through it. So like if you like to do logic problems, like my wife loves logic problems, that's something you've always got to stop and think through, because it's not the same old thing that you've always done before. It's not something that you've got to process and you've got to concentrate on it. It's kind of like this morning when we had a number of technical problems here. None of that was happening on autopilot. That was all heavy-duty processing, trying to think through what's causing that, where can we go to fix that, what solution set do we have. And so when we get the two areas of our brain engaged together, our brain wants to optimize how things work. And so anything that can be moved from thinking about it to just doing it, that's what's going to happen. And so when we repeat the same actions over and over again, we find ourselves just doing them without really giving it very much thought at all. That's what we call a habit then.